From the Presidential Palace, Manila, Dateline Malacañang.
Good day. This is Dateline Malacañang in review. Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. on Monday extended the term of Philippine National Police or PNP Chief General Benjamin Acorda Jr. even though the PNP chief reached his mandatory retirement age of 56 on Sunday. As proof, General Acorda led the flag-raising ceremony at Camp Crame Monday morning in observance of Human Rights Consciousness Week. In his remarks, Acorda thanked the President for his continuing trust in him. On Sunday, the PNP chief went to Mindanao to know the details of the bombing at the Mindanao State University or MSU in Marawi City. After the flag-raising ceremony, Chief Acorda led a command conference on the assessment of the peace and order situation in Mindanao after the bombing.
Dateline Malacañang.
Malacañang on Tuesday announced that President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. will need to undergo a 5-day isolation after testing positive again for the coronavirus disease 2019 or COVID-19. In a Facebook post, the Presidential Communications Office or PCO said that updates on the President's health will be provided as available. The PCO added that despite testing positive, President Marcos will continue to fulfill his duties virtually. This is the third time that the chief executive has tested positive for COVID-19. President Marcos first contracted the virus in March of 2020 after returning to the country from a trip in Spain, then got infected again in July of 2022. The PCO said that President Marcos urged everyone to take precautions to safeguard their health during the holiday season. At the same time, the Philippine President encouraged the public to get vaccinated and wear face masks when entering crowded places. Based on the data released by the Department of Health or DOH on Monday, the Philippines recorded 1,340 COVID-19 infections from November 28th to December 4th, or higher than the 1,218 cases monitored from November 21st to the 27th. The International Health Regulations Emergency Committee of the World Health Organization, or WHO, in May this year, noted the decreasing trend in COVID-related deaths, the decline in hospitalizations and intensive care unit admission, and the high levels of population immunity to SARS-CoV-2 or severe acute respiratory syndrome coronavirus 2. In light of this, President Marcos issued Proclamation Number 297 in July, lifting the state of public health emergency declared due to COVID-19.
Dateline Malacañang.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. on Tuesday congratulated the passers of the 2023 bar examinations and urged them to make sure that the country continues to have a fair and equitable justice system. In an expose, the President said to the board passers to stand firm in upholding integrity and remain true to the reasons that called them to practice law. The chief executive's statement came shortly after the Supreme Court announced the results of the 2023 bar examinations. A total of 3,812 out of 10,387 examinees have passed the bar examinations in September this year. Efraim Porciuncula B. of the University of Santo Tomas or UST obtained the highest mark of 89.2625% score. Ateneo de Manila University's Mark Josel Padua placed second, while San Beda University's Francis Francisco got the third highest score. Rounding off the top five were Nathaniel Tang of Aquinas Campus of the University of Santo Tomas in Legazpi City, and De La Salle University's David Flores landed fifth overall. Ateneo was the top performer among 13 law schools, which fielded more than 100 candidates with a 94.08% passing rate, or 159 passers out of 169 takers, followed by San Beda with 92.2%, University of San Carlos with 90.915%, University of the Philippines with 89.45%, and UST with 85.25%. This year's passing rate of 36.77% is lower than the 43.47% posted last year.
Dateline Malacañang.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. on Tuesday signed the Public-Private Partnership or PPP Code of the Philippines and the Internet Transactions Act or ITA of 2023. The President was supposed to lead the ceremonial signing of the PPP Code and the ITA law at the Kalayaan Hall of Malacañang Palace in Manila on Tuesday afternoon. However, he had to cancel the event after he tested positive for COVID-19 and was advised to undergo a 5-day isolation. In a statement, Presidential Communications Office or PCO Secretary Cheloy Garafil said that the two measures show the country's commitment and readiness to accelerate its development and to embrace the digital economy. Secretary Garafil said Republic Act or RA 11966 or an act providing for the PPP Code of the Philippines would establish a stable and predictable environment for collaboration between the public and private sectors. She said that the PPP Code incorporates best practices from over 3 decades of experience in implementing the Build, Operate, Transfer or BOT law, ensuring that the country build better infrastructure projects and mitigate risk during their implementation. Meanwhile, Garafil said the passage of RA 11967 or the ITA of 2023 would provide the public with the mechanisms to confidently embrace the digital economy. The new law establishes the E-Commerce Bureau under the Department of Trade and Industry or DTI, which would spearhead the implementation of the law, as well as the Electronic Commerce Act of 2000 and the Philippine E-Commerce Roadmap.
Dateline Malacañang.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. praised the National Task Force to End the Local Communist Armed Conflict, or NTF-LCAC, for liberating thousands of villages from the influence of communist insurgents since the task force has been established. In his message, read by Special Assistant to the President, Secretary Antonio Ernesto Lagdameo Jr., during the 5th anniversary of the NTF-LCAC in Camp Aguinaldo on Monday, the President recognized the contributions of 41 individuals, government agencies, and civic groups which were given an award during the occasion. President Marcos said that he applauds the important role and hardships the awardees has made in advancing lasting peace, unity, and development in the regions that was ravaged by communist insurgents. According to the chief executive, the efforts of the awardees will not only help achieve the goals of the NTF-LCAC but also positively affect the lives of Filipinos in the country. Among the awardees were the provincial governments of Ilocos Sur, Quezon, and Kalinga, as well as Cagayan Governor Manuel Mamba, Quirino Governor Daquila Carlo Cua, Negros Occidental Governor Eugenio Jose Lacson, Apayao Governor Elias Bulot Jr., and Baguio City Mayor Benjamin Magalong.
Dateline Malacañang.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. on Wednesday said that innovative policies and initiatives are vital in addressing the challenges plaguing the country's justice system. During the first National Jail Decongestion Summit at the Diamond Hotel in Manila, the President called on the Justice Sector Coordinating Council, or JSCC, to take advantage of the technology and innovative practices to make the justice system efficient and effective. The JSCC is composed of the Supreme Court, or SC, the Department of Justice, or DOJ, and the Department of the Interior and Local Government, or DILG. In a speech delivered by Executive Secretary Lucas Bersamin, the President urged the JSCC to pursue the streamlining and digitalization of the frontline and back-end services. By embracing technology and innovative practices, they can enhance the efficiency and reduce delays to ensure swift and fair legal procedures. President Marcos said the Philippines must also learn from the successes and best practices of other countries where innovative solutions have been implemented to address the challenges in the justice system. The chief executive expressed confidence that the discussions in the summit would pave the way for better policies and initiatives that will address the root causes of the problems in the justice system. President Marcos urged the participants in the summit to share their insights, experiences, and best practices, saying collaborative efforts would help build a society where justice is swift, fairness is paramount, and compassion prevails. The Philippine president skipped the event because he had to undergo a 5-day isolation after contracting COVID-19. Led by the JSCC, the 2-day summit brings together various government agencies and other stakeholders to tackle challenges in the penal system and ease the congestion problem in jails across the country through a whole-of-government approach. The summit features 4 plenary sessions, parallel workshops, best practices from other countries, and testimonies from persons deprived of liberty. The JSCC also plans to unveil the Jail Decongestion Concept Note, a document that sets the stage for the conference by presenting the current state of affairs and establishing the foundation for the agenda.
Dateline Malacañang.
Malacañang on Wednesday announced that President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. has appointed Cesar Chavez as Presidential Assistant for Strategic Communications. Chavez will serve under the Office of the President, holding the rank of Undersecretary, based on the list of new presidential appointees posted on the Presidential Communications Office or PCO's official Facebook page. Mr. Chavez worked as Department of Transportation or DOTR Undersecretary for Railways and Deputy Administrator of the Light Rail Transit Authority or LRTA. He also became a member of the Board of Directors of the Basis Conversion and Development Authority or BCDA. Chavez served as a news anchor and station manager of DZRH and a chief of staff of former Manila Mayor Francisco Isko Moreno Dumagoso. Meanwhile, the president also named new appointees to the DOTR and the Department of Trade and Industry or DTI. The president designated Jeremy Regino as DOTR Undersecretary. Regino served as General Manager of the Philippine National Railways and LRTA Administrator. He was also the Chief of Staff of former Caloocan City Mayor Oscar Malapitan, the LRTA, the Philippine Tourism Authority, and former Pangasinan Governors Oscar Orbos and Rafael Colette. President Marcos likewise tapped Mary Jean Pacheco and Michael Christian Ablan as DTI Undersecretary and Assistant Secretary, respectively. Before her promotion, Pacheco served as DTI Assistant Secretary for Digital Philippines and officer in charge of the department's Consumer Protection Group. Ablan, on the other hand, worked as the Department of Education or DepEd Undersecretary for Administration. He also worked at the then Presidential Communications and Operations Office or PCOO under the Duterte administration as Assistant Secretary for Policy, Legislative Affairs, and Freedom of Information or FOI, and Undersecretary for Administration Finance and FOI.
Dateline Malacañang.
Malacañang on Wednesday said that Canada has pledged to support the Philippines' climate action projects until the year 2026 through its $5.3 billion international climate finance. In a statement, Presidential Communications Office or PCO Secretary Cheloy Garafil said that the Philippine government and the United Nations Development Program or UNDP are working in collaboration with Canada to reduce the climate finance gap through nature-based solutions projects. Citing the statement of Global Affairs Canada Climate Finance Executive Director Andrew Hurst, Garafil said, Canada bolsters its support for the Philippines in promoting biodiversity conservation, climate change mitigation, adaptation, and resilience with consideration for gender equality. Hurst also gave assurance that Canada would stay engaged in the Philippines, both in climate finance and bilateral assistance program. He said the project covers activities that include research and knowledge sharing, adding that its goal is to address a number of persistent issues through a single intervention or in an integrated way. Hurst expressed hope that some of the efforts undertaken in the project can really generate some ideas and form some creative solutions that themselves may have a life beyond the end of the project. He also noted the diversity of stakeholders involved in the project, from the local level, communities, national government, and private sector, stressing that the uniqueness of arrangements could stimulate more efforts on cooperation in the future. In 2021, Canada doubled its international climate finance from $2.65 billion to $5.3 billion to further strengthen its ability in helping developing countries transition to low-carbon, climate resilience, nature positive, and inclusive sustainable development.
Dateline Malacañang.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. on Thursday expressed elation over reports that the country's latest inflation and unemployment rates fell to its lowest since March 2022 and April 2005 respectively. In a Facebook post, the president said, "The latest developments show the administration's efforts are paying off as Filipinos have found new opportunities to improve their lives." According to the Philippine Statistics Authority or PSA's latest labor force survey, the country's unemployment rate in October this year was at 4.2%, down from the 4.5% recorded in the same month last year. National statistician Dennis Mapa on Thursday said the number of unemployed Filipinos went down to 2.09 million from 2.24 million in October of 2022. Meanwhile, the country's headline inflation further eased to 4.1% in November this year, lower than the 8% posted in the same month last year and the 4.9% registered in October this year. In a separate statement on Thursday, Socio-Economic Planning Secretary and National Economic and Development Authority or NEDA Director General Arsenio Balisacan said, labor market conditions will continue to improve given the thrust of the Marcos administration to encourage trade and investment and reinvigorate job generation. Balisacan also attributed the drop in inflation to the timely implementation of strategies to stabilize food supply amid the anticipated domestic and external headwinds in the coming months. President Marcos said he is optimistic that the government's efforts would enable his administration to transform the country into a new Philippines that is resilient and prosperous.
Dateline Malacañang.
Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. on Thursday called for unity among employers, labor workers, and other stakeholders to ensure the full recovery of the labor market amid economic challenges. President Marcos made the call during the Dole at 90 Stakeholders Night, Gabi ng Parangal at Pasasalamat held at the Philippine International Convention Center or PICC in Pasay City. In a speech delivered by Executive Secretary Lucas Bersamin, the President encouraged everyone to work together to produce not only more jobs but also quality and meaningful employment that will uplift the lives and dignity of every Filipino worker. President Marcos also lauded the Department of Labor and Employment or DOLE for promoting gainful employment opportunities and protecting the workers' rights and welfare for 90 years. The chief executive also recognized the awardees and government partners and affirmed labor protection and industrial peace among his administration's priorities. President Marcos called on the awardees to sustain their advocacies and inspire everyone to strive even harder to build a strong and resilient workforce. The event was part of the week-long celebration of the DOLE's 90th founding anniversary. The DOLE began as a bureau in 1908 under the then Department of Commerce and Police. It was constituted as a department under Act 4121 on December 8, 1933.
Dateline Malacañang.
The Philippines is planning to reopen its embassy in Helsinki next year as it seeks to increase cooperation and engagement with Finland. The Department of Foreign Affairs, or DFA, made the announcement during the Finland National Day reception in Taguig City on December 6. DFA Undersecretary Maria Teresa Lazaro said, "This is to reciprocate Finland's move to reopen its mission in Manila in 2020. Last year, Finland also opened its honorary consulates in Davao and Cebu, signaling its growing presence in the Philippines. The DFA decided to close its foreign service post in Finland a decade ago to maximize resources and to augment embassies and consulates where there are more Filipinos." Lazaro noted that relations between Manila and Helsinki have grown closer over the past years through high-level exchanges. In January of 2023, the two states held the 7th round of political consultations and explored ways to enhance cooperation, including on health and education. Manila and Helsinki are looking for opportunities to increase interactions in a wide range of areas, including trade, education, science and technology, green technologies, green transition and clean energy, maritime, immigration and labor, and creative industries, among others.
Dateline Malacañang.
Finally, Philippine President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. on Friday encouraged the Filipino faithful to draw inspiration from the narrative of the Immaculate Conception in overcoming limitations and to gather strength and fortify their Christian faith by sharing their blessings to the poor and marginalized. In his message during the observance of the Feast of the Immaculate Conception of Mary, the President asked the nation to fervently pray for the continued guidance of the Lord Almighty and the intercession of the Blessed Virgin Mary as the people join hands to build the bagong Pilipinas that Filipinos aspire for. The Feast of the Immaculate Conception is a celebration by the Catholic community of Mary's conception without sin. Even though the feast day occurs in the liturgical season of Advent, which prepares for the birth of our Lord Jesus Christ, the Immaculate Conception refers to the conception of Mary in the womb of her mother, Saint Anne. The observance of the feast began with a papal encyclical by Pope Pius IX when he formally defined the dogma of the Immaculate Conception Ineffabilis Deus on December 8, 1854.
Dateline Malacañang.
Before we conclude our program, we would like to invite everyone to come and visit our Facebook page at Radyo Pilipinas World Service. You will be able to hear and view our Filipino and English programs, including news updates here in the Philippines. Kindly subscribe, like, and share our posts as well. And that concludes this edition of Dateline Malacañang in Review. For Radyo Pilipinas World Service, this is Leo Magpayo. Good day and stay safe.
From the Presidential Palace, Manila, Dateline Malacañang.